Carrie, does that resonate with you, that, having real belief in what you're, so, as a voice coach, you must rate yourself.
Well, yeah.
Because why would someone buy from you if you don't? Yeah. So is that something that you feel as well?
Yeah, it's about believing in yourself and what you're selling, and also building a relationship with the person who's buying it as well. So if you build that relationship, you won't feel like you're selling. They'll want to buy it anyway. So if you think of it as opening up a conversation about how you can help them. So when you help them to buy, I've even been in situations where I've held back because I thought my client was too big, and they've said, listen, Carrie, I want to buy your service, help me to buy it. So when you open up to actually what you can do to help them, what your product or service is going to do for them, what do you do, if you don't mind me asking?
Yeah, I'm a personal performance coach.
Okay.
So it's just helping people to go for what they want and to unlock. I think that we've all got options, and sometimes we don't see them, and it's just helping them unlock that connection to the options.
Exactly. So when you're talking to someone, if you're able to, you probably are able to figure out what it is that's actually holding them back, and when you pinpoint that for them, you open their eyes. Sometimes they haven't even realised themselves, and so then they know that they can trust you, and they're going to want to buy from you. You won't even need to sell to them.
That's great advice. And there's kind of a bit of a theme for both of you about when things got difficult, when you came out of that, you had more focus on particular clients or particular areas of the market that you were going to work on. And also a theme that Debbie picked up as well about mentoring, about getting help, about not doing it on your own.
Yeah. I was terrible at asking for help. Yeah. Once I started asking for help, it came flooding in.
Things entrepreneurs know everything, don't we? We don't need help. That's the mistake we made. Anyway, Matt, how did you sort of get through when things didn't go the way you hoped, or just tell us how you got through it?
When you talked about the podcast, I was thinking about the time when I grew my recruitment business and kind of got to the point where I'd worked really hard, and I said, when I get to this stage, when I'm generating this much money and this much profit, then I'll be happy and everything will be great. And I kind of got there after 8 years, and I was the saddest I'd ever been, because I realised that getting to that point doesn't make you happy. So having that amount of money or success wasn't going to make me happy. I was burnt out from the journey before. So a thing I always talk to people about is enjoying the journey. So do something you love, make sure that you love what you're doing. So you can make tweaks, you control your own destiny as an entrepreneur. It's one of the best things about it. And I guess when things get tough, so with this business, we got to a point where we ran out of money. It's a subscription model, so we had money coming in, but we didn't have the cash. I know this isn't about the cash flow today, that's tomorrow, but it's the most common reason for failure of businesses. I had to remortgage my house, I'd maxed on my credit cards, I'd borrowed off all my friends, all my family. I got to that point, it was, but the way I got through that was something I call positivity planning. So every week, I'd take myself off for 1 hour, go to a coffee shop, and I'd write down all the positive things that were going on in my business, all the things that I was doing well, all the things that I was proud of. Because I don't know if everyone's the same as an entrepreneur, but I focus on all the negatives. I look at what's wrong in the business, what do I need to fix, how do I need to change things? Which is good in terms of you're focusing on the problems, but if you're focusing on the negative all the time, it can get you down. So positivity planning was my little secret.
Yeah, lots. So first of all, define your voice. So 24 Fingers as social media is, for example, a bit sarcastic, a bit Essex, always use slang, and do kind of weird stuff that you wouldn't expect from social media. That's our tone of voice. Before you even post on one social media channel, work out who you are and make it really, really authentic, because people smell when you're not, and they will turn off and they won't follow you and they won't engage with you. So no matter who you are, what your ethos is, what your values are, what your business ethics are, be that on social media. Be Marmite, right? Be divisive. Not everyone's going to like you, but that's all right. Going back to my comment before, if somebody looks at my social media and doesn't get the fact that I've put on a picture of a packet of bird's eye peas, then they're not for me, because that's us. do tone of voice. Don't think that you've got to post on every social media channel every minute of the day, because A, it's not realistic, B, you're going to get burnt out, C, you're going to start thinking about the likes and the vanity metrics, like how many people have I followed, and it will start to get really all-consuming. So look at where your target audience are. Perhaps they're on Instagram, perhaps they're not. And if they're not, don't waste your time, because you're going to have enough to do. At the point of startup, you might not have the money to outsource it, so really concentrate on where you think your ideal client's going to be, and it might be LinkedIn, it might be Google Ads, it might be Twitter, and each one of those channels is going to give you a different benefit. Don't be surprised that you don't get 1,000 followers on day one, because that's like really normal and everybody struggles with that. God, I could talk about this forever.
You could, yeah. Well, give us one more. Go on.
One more, and this is something that I did wrong. So I've been in publishing for years. Words come really easy to me. I don't even need to think. What I should have done is concentrated more effort on SEO as a lead generator. I want to check a little bit more about pipeline and consistent leads when we've got questions.
Do you want to tell us what SEO is for those
sorry,
of us not in the swim?
So search engine optimization, when we go on Google and we search for stuff, that's search engine optimization to get you up in the rankings. And I didn't focus on that, right? I was just like, I'm going to do Twitter, I'm going to do LinkedIn. And what I should have done is invested time and effort in SEO, because to get into Google's rankings, it's going to give me a more consistent pipeline. Now, I've never made a cold call in 7 years. I've been really lucky. Matt's probably hating me right now. Daggers. But the inbound leads that we get every day come from networking, and they come from social media. They come from things like talks and webinars. But what I should have done is spread that effort across the right channels, one of which was SEO. So have a think about where your efforts are best spent, rather than spreading yourself too thin and just thinking it's social media and it's just Instagram. Like, have a think, and shout me, like drop me an email if you're unsure about what channel might be right for you. I've got some stats in terms of audience personas. If you're trying to get a 40-year-old businessman, where should you be? If you're trying to get a 25-year-old female entrepreneur, where should you go? And I'm happy to share.
Which is, how do you? Well, I like how you put it. How do you stop your family asking for your product or service for nothing? How do you deal with that?
Say no.
Yeah, don't give it to them. Don't give it to them.
It's just
No, they definitely had to learn about it.
Yeah.
Literally, and coming through the journey I've come through, it's been about saying, this is the price, this is my company, you're either going to support me or buy. And that's been the hardest part.
So have a mate's rates, so it's 10% off or whatever, and that's it, or call it the family discount, whatever. But yes, it's they've got value. They've got to respect the fact that if you're doing that, you can't be doing other stuff. So you're losing income by spending the time or giving them the products. So.
Yeah, and particularly it's your time, isn't it? Because that's where you see that very common with early stage entrepreneurs, that everything costs money except my time, which is nothing. And that's the wrong way around. Actually, that's the most valuable, isn't it? Yeah.
The one thing I would say, if you have got friends who genuinely want your help, get them to do you a testimonial, and then you can.
Can I just share an experience on that? What we now, I don't even know what year it is because of lockdown. What we
it's roughly, it's in the 21st century somewhere.
I was working with a client for 7 years. They were my longest client, and it got to the point where every day I woke up and I was scared to open their emails, because I just knew what I was going to get, and I got so numb of the bullying that I was just like, I just can't do it. There's no money in the world is worth that feeling of dread when I think, oh God, what are you going to have a go at me about now? And for anybody that knows me, everyone knows I do my best. Like, I really, really try and do my best all the time. And it just got too much, and they said, I got an email or a phone call one day. They said, oh, we've decided to take the work in-house because we're growing and effectively we can't afford you at the resource level that you would require. And I was like, really not a problem. And financially that was a massive hit for me, but mentally and emotionally and self-care wise, oh my God, like, haven't looked back. So as Pablo says, don't be scared. Well, I'm glad that I'm not scared anymore to turn around and go, this isn't working for me anymore, because the pound signs might be great, but the cost of it is actually bigger.
I had exactly the same in recruitment. So one of my bosses, when I first got into it, they said, when you're trying to get business, if they're a pain to begin with, they'll always be a pain. So You know, we'd always look out for that. If they're rude, if they're demanding, if they don't respect you, you know, just steer clear of them. They'll always do the same.
Yeah. How do I price my business? How do I price my time? How have you gone about that? Matt, go on.
Two different experiences. So in the recruitment end, you know, we want to be the best at what we're doing. So people charge between, say, 10 and 25%. We charge 25% because we want to be the best. Someone wants to buy the best, you know, you typically pay for it. And then the online subscription business for the learning, it was a new product, a new service. No one else was doing it. So the honest answer is we just kept putting the price up every 6 months or so until we got to a point where people were going, actually, that's a bit toppy. I'm not going to buy that. I'm not saying, you know, people were rushing at it, but once we got that objection, like a lot, we're like, okay, we've hit probably the right amount. We haven't changed the price now for kind of 3 years. So yeah, that's probably how we've done it.
So there's a bit of trial and error. There's a bit of competitive position, and how good are you really?
Yeah.
Okay. Karen?
I agree, but also it's about what they're going to get from you, from what you're selling. So if you're selling something for £25 that's going to make them £1,000, you need to think about that transaction and put that up. I don't do rates mates anymore. I don't do discounts. In terms of pricing, what I did was to look at my competition and look at where I'm different. So your unique selling point, you'll hear about this a lot, and it becomes a cliche, but it's a cliche because it's true. So what are you offering that's different? A, yourself, so you're valuable, and B, there's something else that you're offering that the next person isn't, and that's valuable too. So take into consideration A, what you're offering, and B, what they're going to get from it. Don't price yourself by the market, price yourself by your value, and don't be tempted to, it can quickly become a race to the bottom. So like Matthew was saying, you know, setting your percentage at 25%, automatically you're going to draw the people that value what you're doing. So kind of the higher your pricing, the better, until you hit that top tier. And I did the same. So I would say when I get three clients at this price, then I'll put it up. 3 clients at this price, put it up 5 or 10% and play around with it. But once you've made your decision, don't bring it down again.
Brilliant.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
So one I think we've kind of touched on a little bit, but not much, considering we're talking about sales and growth today, is competitor analysis.
Mm-hmm.
So a guy approached me recently to try and encourage me to invest in his business. He's a successful entrepreneur. He's doing a video interviewing app. And I asked him the question, you know, what about the competition? He was like, yeah, I've looked at it, you know, there isn't really much out there. I looked on the internet, there's loads of people that are doing it. And, you know, I looked at doing it 10 years ago, my mate looked at doing it 6 years ago, and you know, that I just lost total confidence in him. So people even that experience, at my point, that don't even just go online and find out. So if you look, you talk about pricing, that's how you'll find about pricing. If either they'll advertise their prices or you pretend to be a customer, set up a dodgy Gmail account and ask them what they charge, you know. You can find out about how they sell their products online, you know, what words they're using, what images they're using. Like I used to go online and basically just nick all the best bits of all the other sites and kind of go, well, you know, put that together and that's my proposition. Because people are spending, you know, thousands and thousands of pounds developing these things. So I think competitor analysis is often overlooked. You need to know them inside out for sales and growth. Website we haven't really touched on. Obviously, everyone kind of needs one. It doesn't have to be, you know, bells and whistles and amazing and loads of pages. Even if it's one page, but it's just really succinct and powerful in terms of you're saying what your customer wants to hear, you're solving the problem. It looks, you know, professional, engaging, all the obvious things. And 90% of people start their journey online looking for whatever it is they're looking for nowadays. 90%. So 90% of your customers are online looking for what you do. What's my other one? Or be the best, which I've kind of spoken about before. I don't mean the best at, you know, in the whole world and your whole sector, but in your niche. Do whatever you need to do to believe that you are the best, and then it's much easier to sell.
Great advice, thank you.
Goodness, we covered loads. I would ask for the sale, even though I've said sometimes you won't, you know, a lot of the time you won't need to, but asking for the sale doesn't mean saying, come on, buy. It's, are we ready to start? When do you want me to send it? What card would you like to use? You know, it's asking for the money and getting comfortable with it. So practice in front of the mirror, practice recording yourself. Some people don't like the sound of their voices, so record yourself and listen to it back. That's my tip as a voice coach. and when you've got if you're selling, I sell on the phone. I sell person to person. So not all of your calls are going to end in a sale. So look at them as a practice. Look at them as a rehearsal, and you might surprise yourself. So having that belief and knowing that you understand your product and your client, when you ask for the sale, you'll get it about 75% of the time. The other 25%, it doesn't matter, because you've had a nice conversation.
Thank you. Emma, what's your top three?
Top three, really concentrate on creating your own assets, so you haven't got to pay Facebook and Google all the time. If you've got ebook in you, if you've got podcasts, if you've got imagery, if you've got blogs, testimonials, really concentrate on building an ecosystem of things that you own. Because if Facebook went down like it did the other day, that's a tough place to be if you haven't got the website that Matt said, or you haven't got an email newsletter list. Create enough assets that you're protected no matter what the big platforms do, and then you're going to create wealth in your business in that way. That's number one. Number two, don't worry about what everyone else is doing, concentrate on your lane. Like, I don't see anybody else. Like, I think there's other social media managers, maybe, I don't know. But like, I just concentrate on what I'm doing and being the best that I can do, and doing things my way. I don't sit and compare myself to others, because they're different. We've all got unique strengths. I'm a Buddhist, so I'm very much about, we've each got unique qualities, and I can't compare myself to others. And if you've got the passion and you're willing to put in the hard work, you're not going to starve, so keep going.
Right.